Hello students, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video, I'm going to explain you the seventh lesson, that is the interview from Flamingo textbook. The interview was written by Christopher Sylvester. About the author, Christopher Sylvester was a student of history at Peter's House, Cambridge. He was a reporter for Private Eye for 10 years and has written features for Vanity Fair. Following is an excerpt taken from his introduction to the Penguin Book of Interviews, an anthology from 1859 to the present day. About interview. Interview was invented 130 years ago. Since then, it has been supreme media to get the factual information and the first-hand information. So many people like Prabhas, Shah Rukh Khan or Ranbir, okay, like so many people might have faced this interview. There are different opinions about the interview. Some people hate this interview because it is like an intrusion into one's personal life. Some writers' names have been mentioned here who made some severe comments on interview and its role. So actually some years back, before we got these movies, only writers were the celebrities. So their expressions, that means their opinion had been given in this particular lesson, that too a negative opinion. Nearly there are 5 to 6 people. Let us see who are those 5 to 6 people and we'll see. The first one is V.S. Naipaul. V.S. Naipaul feels that some people are wounded by interviews and lose a part of themselves. He wants to say that some celebrities lose their privacy and private life because of interviews. The interviewer asks many personal questions, but the celebrity must answer without being annoyed. That is what the thing you can understand. Okay, the reporters can ask many questions and silly questions, but the celebrities must not get annoyed. They have to give the answer smilingly. That is what the nowadays journalism is like this. The second person is Lewis Carroll. So actually, he says that interview is just a horror of the interviewer. His opinion on that interview is just a horror of the interviewer. So it means that an interviewer is very horrific to ask troubling questions. That is why they had never accepted to get interviewed. He was afraid of being lionized. Lionized means here getting a lot of public attention, right? That means coming for autograph or getting selfies. That is what he did not like that. That's why he had never accepted to give an interview. And next, yes, Rudyard Kipling and his wife Carolyn. These two had expressed an even more condemnatory attitude towards the interviewers. I told you already, all these are the writers. Yes, these two had expressed an even more condemnatory attitude towards the interviewer. They wrote in their diary that 14th October 1892 was the worst day for them because they were bombarded with different types of questions by two Boston reporters. They were wrecked there. She said that it was a crime to ask and give interview. She made more comments that interview was a physical attack, an unpleasant one, or a merits punishment and cowardly. Okay, in such a way she had expressed her opinion on interview. But after some years, this Rudyard Kipling had interviewed Mark Twain. That is the twist here. Yes. Next, H.G. Wells. H.G. Wells, in an interview in 1894, referred to the interviewing ordeal. Ordeal means here a very unpleasant and prolonged experience. He had mentioned that interview is an unpleasant and prolonged experience. Yes, actually, if the interviewers ask the proper questions, there will be no problem. But nowadays, they ask silly questions like, for example, if you take the example of Prabhas or Rajnikant or some, like especially Prabhas is there. So these people ask the silly questions like, sir, we heard that you have some link with some heroine or something like that. These people ask. So what is this, right? Everybody will have their personal life, but why should we ask such kind of questions? That is what. And what was a fairly frequent interview, and 40 years later, he found himself interviewing Joseph Stalin. Here, he had interviewed Joseph Stalin. He said that it is an unpleasant and prolonged experience, but he had accepted to get interviewed for many times, and he interviewed Joseph Stalin. Yes. Next, Saul Bellow. Saul Bellow, who has consented to be interviewed on several occasions, nevertheless, once described the interview as being like a thumbprint on his windpipe, like the thing which you see here. Okay, the person who is pressing his throat. It is like that. That means suffocating. Interview is like suffocating thing. That's what his opinion. Yes, however, there are different opinions about interview, but if it is used properly, definitely we can get more and more information. Yes, this is the second part, and in this second part, some interview part has been given. Yes, I am a professor who writes novels on Sundays. Ambato Eco. Ambato Eco was telling that I'm a professor who writes novels on Sundays. That means who is this Ambato Eco? Let us say. The following is an extract from an interview of Ambato Eco. The interviewer is Mukund Padmanabhan from the Hindu newspaper. Umberto Eco, a professor at the University of Bologna in Italy, had already acquired a formidable reputation as a scholar for his ideas on semiotics. Semiotics means the study of signs. Here, this is what semiotics. For example, if you take this white dove is the symbol of peace. If you take this plus symbol, it is the symbol of some medical department, something like this is a dollar, or okay, like this signals and no smoking, fire symbol. These are the signs. Okay, this is called semiotics. The study of signs is called semiotics. He was that professor, a scholar for his ideas. And not only that, literary interpretations and medieval aesthetics. Aesthetics means the study of appreciating the beauty, the study of appreciating the beauty. That is what aesthetism we say. And before he turned to writing fiction, yes, before he turned to writing fiction, he was a scholar in semiotics and in literary interpretations and medieval aesthetics. Later he started writing literary fiction, academic texts, essays, children's books, and newspaper articles. His written output is staggeringly large and wide ranging. That means his writing topics were different: essays, poems, children's books, and all. Okay. In 1980, this is the main important one here. In 1980, he acquired the equivalent of intellectual superstardom with the publication of The Name of the Rose. Remember this. The Name of the Rose is the novel name, which sold more than 10 million copies. 10 million copies was sold. That means almost 1 crore books were sold, right? So after the publication of this novel, he had become worldwide famous, right? When one becomes worldwide famous, automatically interviewers, that means come forward. In the same way here, interviewer had come, that is Mukund Padmanabhan had come forward to interview Umberto Eco. Yes, Mukund Padmanabhan is asking, hello sir, it is actually a simplified interview. Okay, so it's not directly taken from the textbook. Yes, it is simplified interview. Just I made it very simple to understand. That's why you can easily understand. Mukund Padmanabhan, hello sir, how is it possible for you to do all the things as a novelist and as an academician? Even the English writer David Lodge remarked the same. Umberto, maybe I give the impression that I am doing so many things at a time, but I am doing only one thing, which is uh, now that is more difficult to explain. I have some philosophical interests and I pursue them through my academic work and my novels. Even my books for children are about non-violence and peace. You see, the same bunch of ethical, philosophical interests. And I never waste my time. In everyone's life, there is leisure time. This leisure time is called interstices. I utilize these interstices, which means I don't waste my time. That is why I'm able to do all these things. While you are coming to meet me, instead of waiting, I have written an article. Yes, Mukund. Not everyone can do that, of course. And your writing style is somewhat different from others. It is dry and boring. What do you say about this, Ambato? While I was submitting my doctoral dissertation in Italy University, I submitted my guesswork, rough work, and final output. Generally, people submit only the final output, but my professor accepted and published it as it is. Thus, I have developed the narrative style, and that's why I could write novels easily. Mukund, actually, you are an academician. who wrote many scholarly works, but after the publication of the novel, The Name of the Rose, people have identified you as a novelist. Does this bother you? Does this bother me? Number two, see, I like to be an academician rather than a writer. I write novels only on Sundays, but it is okay. But it's okay that people identified me as a novelist because there are a few people who like semiotics. Yes, Mukund. My next question is The Name of the Rose is a serious novel which with a detective touch, but you have added theology and metaphysics in that even though it has been a huge success, were you puzzled, that is shocked at the success of the book? But no, but journalists and sometimes the publishers were shocked. You people always think that audience don't like different experiences. However, there are some people who like different experience. And after the dinner, I watch Miami Vice and Emergency Room. It is necessary, but not every time. That is what we need different experiences. Some people are there to enjoy different experiences. Yes. Mukund, could the huge success of the novel have anything to do with the fact that it dealt with a period of medieval history that's possible? But let me tell you another story because I often tell stories like Chinese wise man. My American publisher did not accept or did not expect to sell more than 3,000 copies. So I was given an advance for 3,000 copies only. But in the end, it sold 2 or 3 million in the US. A lot of books have been written about the medieval past far before mine. I think the success of the book is a mystery. Nobody can predict it. I think if I had written The Name of the Rose 10 years earlier or 10 years later, it wouldn't have been so successful. Why it worked at that time is a mystery. The success of any book or movie depends on the mood of the people and also time. There ends the story, that is lesson. My dear students, I hope you understood my lesson. And if you like my video, please subscribe. Thank you.